Greetings, Neverwinters. Welcome back to the Inside Neverwinter podcast, the only Neverwinter exclusive podcast. Today is Sunday, December 15th, 2013. I am your host, DJ Takuya. J-Dog is taking the holidays off, and word is he'll be back on the show around the start of the new year. At the top of the show today, I want to share a story about something I talked about last week, which is the ticket incident for an item needing to be restored. Last week I talked about how some of the online tools are there to take care of your immediate needs whenever you have something come up that you would like a little bit of GM help with. And my particular issue this week was with a certain item restoration. Now, before I talk about what the actual issue was, I want to cover I want to basically say, without a doubt, that the ability to restore items to a player that were deleted by accident or that were lost as other means, it needs to be there in an MMO. There are sometimes there's times when the loot roll system will fail us. There's times when we make mistakes and click through prompts without really paying that much attention, or think we know what we're clicking and click the wrong thing. This is especially true because the prompts aren't often in the same place. I think we're kind of spoiled by programs like Windows and Mac OS that they usually tend to put their OK cancel buttons and so forth, the kind of affirmative or negative choices in a dialog box. They tend to put those in the same order. It's usually negative on the left and positive on the right. Well, in this case, it's it's a little different, and the order is never quite the same. But in any case, what I mean to say by this is that there should never come a time when you're playing an MMO that you say to yourself, well, this one item is gone, I don't have any readily available way to replace it. So I had no other option but to ask a GM for help. And if a GM can't restore the item, it's almost like you lost a bunch of work on your character. Now, for my case, my particular issue this week was with an artifact that I accidentally deleted. After doing the artifact quest and upgrading my artifact with nearly all, I think, of my low-level and mid-level enchants, just throwing them at it for refinement points, I got it to a level where I could upgrade it. Then I went to the Dread Ring to start doing the campaign stuff, because that's where you can get the greater marks and so forth that you use to upgrade, and it saves you a little money trying to buy it off the auction house. So you can earn it yourself. Now my problem came when I got out there and I was trying to get it, and I was just about ready to rank it up to the next rank, from green to blue quality. So what happened was, I went to item refinement after I gotten out and gotten a mark that I needed. And so I'd gotten it from the layer run that we had done. I think it was Dread Ring. So I got done with that and tried to open my thing, and I accidentally clicked, I think instead of refine the item, I clicked on discard or delete or whatever it was. Now, that might not be the best option for a drop-down menu. Mind you, it does ask you to open. It does open a dialog box and says, since it was only green, it didn't make me type the name of it. Now, it opens the dialog box and it says, "Are you sure you want to throw this away?" And it says, "Cancel this card." Now my problem was with I wanted to click the item that I thought would be cancel. So I by habit I clicked the left one. It turns out the left one was discard. So I discarded my artifact by mistake. And all this is my fault, clearly. Nothing PWE or Cryptic could have done to stop me from being stupid. The problem that I have with PWE and Cryptic was the fact that I put in a ticket to try and get it fixed, and through no fault of their own, I had changed my email, so I needed to get that changed. Well, that took a couple of days, because first my ticket didn't get responded to for about a day and a half. Then it needed a response from me, so I checked it a couple hours later and filled in the appropriate information and sent it back. Like an hour later, I had a response that said everything had been changed with my email on my account, which means I was good to go. Now, the next step was to follow up on the original important. The original question I had asked was, can this item be replaced or restored? It would not. The only answer I got was that they cannot restore that item. That doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to. Sometimes when you're working customer service, that means that you don't have you don't have the right authority to do that, which is okay. It's just that with a simple question like that, there really doesn't need to be a whole long list of reasons why it can't be done. So, the point I'm trying to get at is it made me think, why couldn't the artifact be restored? Why couldn't the GMs, the devs, fix my mistake? It's a pretty simple mistake. Happens. I would say it happens to a lot of people. Of course, I'm not going to say everyone's as dumb as me, but what I'm saying is that there's times when it's going to be needed because they're click-through prompts, and sometimes click-throughs fail us. So. It's something that an MMO desperately needs, and I don't think of any reason why it should not be able to be done. Well, I can think of a couple off the top of my head now because I'm trying to talk to you guys. One of them being, if they restore items all the time, they run the risk of letting people scam somehow. So, I mean, they probably don't try not to do that at all. Now, okay. Now, all that's kind of a sideshow to what I really want to talk about, which is, I think, a shift in play style for me. I've been doing my dailies recently, and it came about after I leveled the character to 20 as a byproduct of this whole artifact mess. I had leveled the character to 20, originally in an attempt to earn that artifact back. After looking on the collections page and seeing that they're listed as BOE. For the record, those artifacts are BOP, and you cannot trade them anywhere. So there's no farming it up on low-level characters and giving it to your high levels, so your high levels have all the artifacts. That doesn't happen. So the BOP, buy to pick up, you can't get them once that's done. And apparently I can't get the quest again. So, that's neither here nor there anymore. So, as a byproduct of leveling, I realized just how quick a DPS class could be. I was mind-boggling how much quicker quests were done. As a result of playing this other class and realizing how quick things were dying, I realized, even if it wasn't meant for that kind of thing, where what I'm doing with it, and I play it more for a personal feeling of that's what I like to play. So it's kind of like, I like Sword and Shield, and this is how I can play this in this game. So I'm going to shift my playstyle. I'm going to be going to a new main and using my old Guardian Fighter kind of as a tank for dungeons when we need it or when I'm feeling like it. It's really more of a novelty thing anyway, so I don't feel like I'm hurting myself if I just put him on the shelf for a while. So I'm going to be switching to a DPS class, probably ranged, so either Cleric or a Hunter, and I'll keep you updated and talk about how different it is, probably just as an opener portion, kind of partially to fill time because it's just me, but also partially because this is where we talk about the game, and so I feel justified talking about that. So, that's about enough of that. If you want to talk back to the show, drop a comment below on the video on YouTube. Tell us all about it. We'd love to share your viewer feedback on the show and give you a shout out at the top. We do have a couple comments this last week. I don't have the names readily available. Give me just a second. Okay, sorry about that pause. Now the comment in the feedback in question is from a user named Grant Baldwin on YouTube. Says, "Hey, welcome back. We all were looking forward to the latest Inside Neverwinter. New site sounds great and love the Shadow Mental commentary. Grant, I'm really happy that you liked what I had to give last week. I realized that it's not that the show we provide isn't quite like everything else that you get for other games. Normally, there'll be like a 2 or 3 guy crew, and they'll bounce conversation back around, and I've done my best to kind of keep that up. So I do appreciate that you still listen, even though it's just me lately. Rest assured, I am still looking for a third co-host, so we will have more rotation and less just me talking to myself. As for the new site and the Shadow Mental stuff, There's more of that coming. That's just my typical style, so I'm glad you like it. The new site coming in 2014 is, I will let y'all know just as soon as that's up, because that's where the MP3 files will be hosted. A video from YouTube will be embedded to show the show. Some show notes will be up there. Things like that to kind of keep everything in line. Now, I mentioned all that last week, and I don't want you to feel like I'm not paying attention to what I say. I do want to reiterate it, just in case it was missed. So I'm kind of taking advantage of that time to just kind of cover it. So thanks, Grant. I really appreciate your feedback on the show, both on this podcast and on the channel there. Much appreciated. So that is about that's everything for viewer comments, viewer feedback here. Now we move on to the state of the game. In today's State of the Game, now that we have all been doing Shadow Elemental stuff for a little while in the Dread Ring campaign, I've got a little more to say about the campaign. Mainly that I really prefer the way the Dread Ring campaign is set up to how Sharandar was. Before we delve into boons and how they're earned, we have a new means of achieving the extra rewards at the end of a lair run. You have a task that uses Thayan scrolls and or Vanguard scripts to forge gauntlets. The gauntlets can be forged every day for free once you've paid their task. The different ranks of gauntlets increase the rewards as you go on from the layers, making them all around good content to benefit everyone at the same time while not necessarily at the same rate. It's important to note, the gauntlets are akin to the Sharandar keys and that they make the lair runs a way to earn extra loot. The change is that you have a maximum of 1 gauntlet per day. You can't get another gauntlet if you haven't yet used the first one, unlike the keys for Sharandar. Now, this is both a good and a bad thing. The good thing is that I was using... The good thing is that... while in Sharandar, I had the access to the keys just the same as anybody else, and if I wasn't able to log in, I could get a key for the next day so I could run it again. But it was bad in that it made me feel like I was losing out if I didn't go grab that key every day. This way, I'm missing out if I don't log in, and I understand that, but if I just don't feel like doing anything, I'm not kind of obligated to log in just to log in, and I'm not really. I don't really. Since they took that choice away from me, remember how I talk about choice is key. And you need to give players choice. Well, since they took that choice away from me, I don't worry about it anymore because the min maxing you can't do anymore. So when I say it's good and bad, I mean that you have less choice, but you're also going to be less prone to think that you have to do something because it's available to you. Kind of like it's just kind of common sense to take advantage of what you can while you can, and I don't feel like I have to do it anymore, like to get the key to do an extra one, because that's going to spend more time doing that stuff when sometimes I want to get done and go do a dungeon or something, because I want to get those rewards from doing the dailies, but I don't necessarily want to be out in that zone all day. So, as for Dread Ring's boon rewards, now you'll notice they've been metered, so that the first 2 will be gotten within 7 days of dailies. You'll just spend the quest rewards from all your dailies on the Study Thayan Writing task once you've got all the materials, which are 5 Vanguard script, 1 Thayan cipher a piece. So each day. So you'll do it for 3 days, then you open up the first boon. 4 more days, and you open up the second boon. So that's 7 days. That's a week worth of dailies. After that, it takes just 10. It takes 10 scrolls plus the 5 script and 1 cipher, 1 Thayan cipher, to do the task that lets you get another notch in that bar. And they're metered at the 12, 19, and 27 notches, meaning altogether you'll spend a little less time doing Dread Ring dailies than Sharandar dailies if you're just going for the boons. Now, at the very top of the boons, but before I go too far, 12, 19, and 27, that's the amount of days of dailies, basically. So I don't mean that those are additional. I mean that they are, it's basically going, after 3 days you get a reward, after 4 more days you get another reward, after 5 more days you'll get a reward, after 7 more days, after 8 more days. It's kind of like that. They're just bumping up 1 more day or 2 more days for the very next, on top of what you've already done. So it's just a little bit of growth at a time. But anyway, the boon themselves, they're still up for debate if they're worth it. But if you didn't want a reward, you probably won't be dailying it up in the Dread Ring very much anyway, because the only other thing you'll get from it is the key to Valinder's Tower, which itself costs a few materials. but mostly 50,000 Astral Diamonds. So invest in that as you will. I just know that I got my Malabog's Castle key, and I never really got to do that. So I'm gonna put that off for a bit before I know if I'm gonna get to do that or not. So that's my state of the game this week. I've really been spending most of my time in Neverwinter playing the Dread Ring campaigns. So the quests as they go, I prefer the way they structured the quests because when I pick up a whole bunch, I actually have a path choice. And when I say that, I mean I can leave the little Vanguard area, whichever the two places I choose, and it'll actually put me closer to my quest objectives to go one way or the other. Which I like. I mean, I like that they grouped it and didn't just haphazardly throw them at you. So, I mean, you are seeing the different areas a little more variedly. That being said, I think I'm about a week behind other people. Just here and there, I've missed a day or two or three, and it's added up. So, my Dread Ring campaign experience is probably a week behind that of the hardcore player who's getting it every day. So, let me know what you're thinking of the Dread Ring campaign, how it stacks up to Sharandar, how it stacks up to other content that you could be doing, other games you could be playing, because while we are discussing Neverwinter, it's important that we get other frames of reference for use of objectivity, as well as if the game doesn't measure up, we need to address that. We need to address whether it's worth our time. And if it is, we need to address that too, because sometimes we need to reiterate that it is worth the while. It is worth what we're putting into it. At the very least, free is a price tag that everyone's wallet can afford. So, I think for being free, we're getting a lot of good stuff. But I've said that before, so let's move on to news from the Enclave. Now, this week's news from the Enclave looks forward to an event next week, getting uncharacteristically early on my coverage of this, so let's talk about this. Now, the Winter Festival is coming to Faerun on Thursday, December 19th at 10 a.m. It will continue for 3 weeks until Thursday, January 9th at 10 a.m. As its name suggests, it's similar to the Summer Festival in structure. Okay, like the Summer Festival before it, we're looking forward to open world events in the Event Zone Twilight Tor. By the way, Tor, is an old Celtic word that translates into a hill or rocky peak, just in case you were wondering. So we're probably going to be looking at some mountainous terrain here. So what's there to do when we get this event? There's timed events to kill the theme mobs, just like Midsummer, a mount race, kind of like the farm, and ice fishing to fill out the open world. The ice fishing is new. I don't think we've gotten that. All seemingly basically just for fun events. They probably will reward a little bit of currency. We'll talk about that for just a sec. Also, for fashion gear, pets announced the currencies are known as Lights of Simril and Stars of Fortune. It seems like the Stars of Fortune are like the Sunite tokens we got, in that they are the once-a-day currency, and will probably pay for the new mounts, like the Winter Sled and Dappled Riding Horse mounts. And now Lights of Simril come from the Master of Light's profession, and I'm guessing from doing quests and events around the zone, most likely will pay for vanity gear, novelty items, and so forth. If you'll remember, the Midsummer Festival had the Fire Blossom petals, and they were a lot like kind of the cents version of the dollars and cents. And our Sunite tokens were kind of like the dollars. So, I mean, we would get, one of the big ones every day, but we would also be getting a whole bunch of small ones just whenever we could. So all the stuff that was kind of for funsies, like the vanity gear, the cosmetic stuff, the pets or the what have you, all that stuff came from the non-gated currency, the currency you could earn at whatever rate you cared to put the work in for. Whereas the mounts were only available for a certain amount of play, basically encouraging you to get, you can get a custom mount model if you play every day. That's kind of what it's encouraging. So, that's coming up this next week, in about just 4 days. So look forward to that this upcoming week when it starts, and we'll be talking about it this next weekend on the show, once we've actually gotten a chance to play it. Now, That's all for news from the Enclave. In our featured foundry section, again, no featured foundry this week due to Shadow Mantle keeping me from doing other Neverwinter stuff and occupying all of my my time here trying to get ahead on that. Well, I've lost ground on that, so I'm kind of 0 for 2 on this one. But not to worry, next week, look out for some featured foundry, because as things kind of settle in, we get some more time during the week to start playing those foundries again. And hopefully we'll have some footage to show for you, so you're not just tabbing out of basically a blank video. So, that's going to do it for me this week. I'm DJ Takuya. J-Dog is out. Hopefully we're back after the holidays. For both of us, thanks for listening. Our intro and outro music is copyright Cryptic Studios and Perfect World Entertainment. We don't own it. If you're interested in more from me, now I have my YouTube channel. I'm in the guild. I have a guild named Knights at the Kaylee. And I'm managing in-game, and we are a social guild for RPing and PvE. So it's basically, as long as you enjoy doing something, you're welcome in KC. KC only has really 3 basic things at its heart. The first is that people are respectful of each other. Mutual respect is the order of the day. So the next one is that the guild is a safe place for the members. Meaning that and you might be asking yourself, what does that mean for a guild to be a safe place? Well, it basically just means that we don't tolerate harassment or bothering, but also that it's a place where you don't have to hold back or feel like you'll be judged. Because we're going to hold back on that. We're going to keep that in check. Lastly, like I mentioned, we don't tolerate harassment. Those are the foundations of Knights at the Kaylee. So, they're the foundations of the guild, everything else about it, the rules, the expectations I have, the dungeon raids, the lair runs, the friendships and all the fun we have, they all flow out of those 3 principles. They also aid a lot in the RP, although that's meant to be more kind of just happenstance than by design. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to shoot me a message in game at DJ_Takuya, and I'll let you. I'll get with you on that. We'll talk about it. I have just a brief conversation kind of interview with people to let them know what all about the guild, and then see if that's something that they're down with. So that's about it for me. That's all I'm going to plug today. Thanks for listening, and we will check you next week in Neverwinter. Stay safe.